And following an announcement from the Ministry of Environment to ban plastic bags that will take effect in another 6 months, Wallace Kintai on the other side of the studio with a representative from NEMA to explain more on what this means for Kenyans. Wallace.
Thank you very much, Victoria. I hope you don't have any plastic bags in your handbag somewhere. But anyway, you may now have to find new ways of carrying your shopping after the government banned the use of plastic bags. The ban, which is contained in a Gazette notice dated the 28th of February, takes effect starting this September. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers, however, says that it's concerned about how what this law means for hundreds of thousands of jobs in the plastics industry. Sheila Sendeyo went with, hopefully without a plastic bag, and filed the following report.
Kenya is a country much known for its omnipresent plastic bag, given out freely with every purchase, and which then often ends up in the streets or as part of the towering piles in the landfills. But that may change. There is concern about the sheer amount of waste that the country produces and how that waste is disposed. There is also concern about how much of that, including plastic waste that lines up our drainage systems, such as this one, ends up in our seas and in our oceans. It is the sort of thing that the country hopes to avoid, but this new move that is now law and that will take effect starting the 28th of August this year. Environment Cabinet Secretary Judy Wahungu, in a Gazette notice dated the 28th of February, banned the use, manufacture and importation of all plastic bags used for commercial and household packaging. So you may have to find another way of carrying your shopping. The light, non-biodegradable plastic bags have to go, as they have been choking the environment. The Kenya Association of Manufacturers is, however, concerned that they weren't consulted before such a bold step was taken. They are also worried about the massive job cuts that will come with the implementation of this new law. The association says the 176 plastic manufacturing companies in Kenya account for 2.89% of the total number of people employed anywhere in Kenya, and they indirectly employ some 60,000 people. They also say that since imported goods packaged in plastic will not be affected by the ban, local manufacturers will be at a disadvantage. They further say the 6 months grace period is hardly enough for companies to shut down production, clear existing stock, or come up with good alternatives. It's not the first time the country has tried the plastic ban. In January 2011, the National Environmental Management Agency, NEMA, declared a ban on plastic bags below 0.6 millimeters in thickness. In 2007, the government also tried to ban plastic bags below 0.3 millimeters thick, but that too failed. If this works, the country could also ride this anti-plastic wave flowing across much of East Africa. Sheila Sendeyo, NTV.
And that's Sheila Sendeyo bringing us a background of what happened with that plastic bags ban. And there's quite a number of things that she has stated there, including the involvement of the National Environmental Management Agency, NEMA. And we thought to bring the head of NEMA here to speak to us, Professor Geoffrey Wahungu. First of all, you must be extremely delighted.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
About the fact that these bags have been banned. What seems to be finally?
It's a relief. It's a relief. It's been very difficult for us to deal with waste. Last year, we developed the National Solid Waste Management Strategy.
Yes.
But its implementation is very difficult because of just one waste stream, that is plastics.
But is the fault with the bags themselves, or the fault how we manage our waste? So, for example, you travel down the Nairobi-Nakuru Road or any other highway in this country and you see people throwing stuff out of the window. It may not be plastic bags, it may be a banana peel, it may be a yogurt container. To me, it sounds more that the problem is not the plastic itself, the item that they're throwing out, but the fact that they're throwing out the item.
That's indeed correct. It is a cultural problem that we have. It's taken us a while, and we have invested a lot of resources in creating awareness and education on the same. And in the end, we have decided to take a different approach, like the rest of our neighbors. Yes. We look bad compared to our neighbors in the East African region. They have taken this bold step, and it was just a matter of time. We have done this for many years, trying to do this and preparing, talking about it. But now, yeah, we are there.
Sheila Story said it, and I know something, I sort of remember it from around 2011, which was it wasn't all plastic bags at the time that were being banned. It was bags of a certain thickness. The ones that I see are thin bags, single use, and the thing gets torn so it doesn't get reused. Is that the case this time, or is it going to be every single plastic bag is banned?
Every plastic bag, carrier and flat bags. That experience for trying to determine the thickness, 30 microns, 60 microns, etc., it's very difficult in an industry that has a lot of counterfeit. And also for the common Kenyan, it's very difficult for them to determine the thickness. And therefore, we see a situation where there is proliferation of the flimsy ones, whereby you go and someone is trying to pack for you something, and they have to put not one, two, even three to be able to contain. And you ask yourself, why not make a thicker one in the first place? Or who do they serve, or what are they meant to carry anyway if one of them cannot be used? So really, we've gone to the bottom, where now there is no other option but to do collective ban. And we are not the first ones in the region anyway. I mean, we are very aware of what Rwanda has done. We are aware of what Uganda has recently done. And the East African Legislative Assembly, already the plastic management bill is there. And Kenya is not looking very nice in the region.
Let's speak about some of the concerns that were raised by different parties in this thing, the primary one being the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. They represent the people who manufacture the bags, and they're saying the fact of the ban, if you set that aside, it's a practicality of it. So you say this ban will take effect in 6 months from the date of publication of the bill, which is February the 28th. They say they have 60,000 workers. They say that they have a long lead time in processing plastic bags. So they have imported a lot of material to basically continue manufacturing. You're now asking them to figure out what to do with 60,000 workers. You're asking them to figure out what to do to retool their machines. You're asking them to figure out what to do with regard to the raw materials that they've imported. Was it practical to give this thing that brief a time?
I think it's good to have a certain level of honesty when you are debating this thing.
Yes.
We have been doing this debate since 2007, and 2 attempts to ban, to legislate. All the time, we have shown our intentions to KAM. We have many activities we do together with KAM, cleaner production initiatives and all that. So we are not surprising them, as they say. This has been long coming. And there is no time you can say that now I'm prepared. I mean, there are business issues related here, but we are acting on the goodwill of the nation. And we are saying that there are many more environmental degradation issues related, and many more health issues, many more economic losses as a result of plastic, much more compared to the benefits we are talking about with so many people employed, which we appreciate very much. It would not be in the best interest. But this is going to be an issue where another stream of manufacture will be offered. For example, we would like Kenyans to now start, if you've never heard of Kiondo.
Yeah, but the point they're making is they accept all that, and I don't want to speak on their behalf, but presumably 6 months is not enough for them to retool from the manufacture of plastic bags to the manufacture of Kiondos, for instance, or any other container that you can use for the things that plastic bags are used for.
We've been doing this since 2007. So it's not 6 months, it's just an addition for them to know that we are serious about what we are talking about. But we've been telling them, we've been having the same dialogue since 2007. So it's not surprising. But finally, we had to act.
2 final things. The first one is you speak about how the countries in the East African community and other places have managed the plastic bags bans. But the one common thing with them is that they tend to be much more, I don't call them repressive societies, but they sort of watch you a lot closer. You go to Rwanda, there's a lot of things you cannot do, whereas Kenya is a lot more free and liberal. You fly into Kigali airport, they'll even make you open your suitcases to take out any plastic bags that there are. Practically speaking, will that happen in Kenya? You come from a country where you're bought duty-free, it's packed in a plastic bag. Do you want to say that we will be able to control it from a practical perspective?
We want to appreciate that indeed Kenya is a democratic society. What we are doing, the plastic ban is within the law. we are going to use the same law to actually enforce this. We're going to be very nice about it. There is no antagonism here. It's just business we are doing. We're doing a business on environment conservation as mandated by law and as mandated by the Constitution on behalf of Kenyans. We have goodwill, and we on their part, they are doing it in a commercial way. We would like to encourage them to look for alternatives to this, either it's employment or with regard to packaging. I know that in some countries they have been very drastic about it,
Yes.
but this is the reason why even us, we've been slow. Since 2007, you know, this is a long time of talking the same story. Something had to happen, and it has happened.
Did we ever try the option that I've seen in some countries where they don't tell you can't have them, but they simply tell you if you're in the supermarket and you're getting your goods packed, when they ask you whether you want them bagged in a plastic bag, they tell you it's fine, but pay 5 shillings, pay 10 shillings, or whatever it is, which then the effect is it effectively discourages you from taking the bag, as opposed to simply saying you cannot have a bag.
Retail outlets, especially supermarkets, contribute a very small portion of the plastics that are giving us a problem. Most of these flimsy ones are not actually even available at the supermarket. We work with the Retail Traders Association of Kenya, RITRAC, on this initiative, branding, so that we can actually follow in the environment and know who it is. And if you are very keen to see that all the branded plastic bags are not much littering the environment because they are take-back schemes in some of the supermarkets. However, this is an initiative which is trying to create awareness and change the culture. But the percent of that problem at the supermarket level is very small compared to what is happening outside of the mainstream supermarkets.
Which is the markets and all these other people.
Yeah, and where we have counterfeit paper bags also. That's the problem.
Let's speak about the future post-September, let's say into October and into the future. It's an amazing situation when you drive around and you see all these plastic bags on fences and wherever, and even worse when you see animals ingesting them. Yeah. How long will it take us as a country, you being in charge of it as NEMA, how long will it take us as a country to clean up all this plastic waste? Because it's quite ridiculous sometimes.
What we hope to do is that, before I talk about the timing,
please. What
we hope to do is we want to encourage, we already have informal groups, youth, women,
yes,
that do bags made from reusable plastic.
Okay.
They collect plastic from the environment, mop up the environment, and create these bags. But what we see is that we only find them in shows where we are displaying them, but people don't actually use them or appreciate that.
We don't even find them.
They are found. You know, it's a market-driven thing, really. Yes. So once you start buying now, and we are encouraging you to have one, start with having a kiondo that is made from waste plastic. So you do that because it's a way of mopping up. And we are thinking that in 2 years, we should be able to mop up because it's a lot. And the worst thing is that we may not be able to mop up the oceans and the rivers where this has been swept to, and it's affecting marine and aquatic life. But in the terrestrial environment, 2 years is enough for us to be able to mop up if we actually take those up and make them into bags that we can reuse, use and reuse, and then stop the imports and the production.
One final one. We started with it and I want us to end with it. Kenyans are their own worst enemy. If they had these plastic bags and they kept them safely, there would not be an environmental problem. Once we finish with the plastic bags, the wider question of how Kenyans behave. We like throwing things out the window because we can no longer see them. Someone is in their house and they simply just throw out water with soap in it because they're finished washing the house or washing the baby. How will we change Kenyan behavior?
There are quite a few of us Kenyans who take it as their own personal initiative to advise others or even to discourage others. Yes. I want to request Kenyans, if you are traveling in a matatu, if you are traveling in your own car and you find somebody having that behavior, take a minute or two to tell them that that is wrong. A lot of the time people get surprised, but you'll be surprised at how much impression that creates.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Wahungu. We have been speaking to Professor Jeffrey Wahungu from the National Environmental Management Agency. Plastic bags are going to go by September, and from what Professor Wahungu is telling us, it's only a matter of a year or two before we actually see them off our environment.